So Frieren is the greatest anime ever, apparently. It just finished, if y'all don't know, airing a few days ago. It's currently the #1 rated anime of all time on Mouse, surpassing Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
As it should be.
3 months, might I add. And we gotta talk about how deserving it is.
Let's just say Frieren is the big dick in the locker room. Not gonna lie. That is Frieren. Like, Frieren showed up, kept going for 28 weeks, right? Man, and did not disappoint in any of those weeks. No qualms. No qualms. Perfect show. Perfect ending. Not even ending. Perfect ending to the season, bro. Dude, oh my God. I got so much to rant about. I'll let Ichi say something first before we really get into it.
Bro, it had a standard. It met that standard, if not exceeded it, every single episode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, actually, let me stop, because in the beginning I did drop it. I'll admit that. I did drop it after like episode 3, 4, maybe.
But you realized the error in your ways, didn't you?
I realized the error in my ways. I'm just impatient as fuck, and I like to get to the fucking juice, the fucking
the goodness that was Frieren,
the fucking meatiness,
Oh,
and
wow.
then but yeah, I couldn't wait any longer, and then I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna watch Hunter x Hunter for like the 25th time.
No, see, I haven't even been rewatching, bro. I've been I've just been watching the weekly stuff. Like, dude, I'll go on a different tangent later.
No, I watched
knows I will.
Yeah, I've watched Buddy Daddies. That's what I switched that.
Oh,
that's what I switched that out with. Which I know we're here talking about Frieren, but I recommend that one. I recommend that one.
We'll have to shout out some other shows later on, because there's been some good shit going on.
Yeah.
But definitely Frieren. We got can we just talk about the final episode real quick? So I'm gonna get straight to it. The moment when Fern saw the fluctuations and she immediately got offered to be a student of, I think it was Sane, if that's her name or something like that. That moment was perfect, dude. Because you could see her starting to just write Fern off to just leave, but because she thought that she was standing there scared, but she was standing there in awe because she could see that she was suppressing her mana. That shit and that big reveal, but like with no like impactful, like there wasn't like an impactful music buildup. It was just silence, and it still hit like fucking crazy, dude. I don't know how. This show is probably one of the best examples of not every hype moment has to be in a fight,
and it's exposing people, to be honest with you, because not to say that if you don't have this show as a 10 out of 10, you're an idiot who can't understand media. That's not what I'm saying. But what I will say is that a lot of the criticisms and qualms that people are having with the show do show a lack of media literacy. A lot of people intertwine non-action in a show that has action with boring. A lot of people, and this happens in film, this happens in American animation as well, if you don't have a level of like super exaggerated of angles, if you have a movie like Oppenheimer, which is just a bunch of people standing around and talking, if you don't have a bunch of Dutch angles to make it interesting, if you don't have enough speed lines zooming in on someone's face to make it more exaggerated than it actually is, then it's hard for a lot of people who are action oriented to sign up for a show that's like 60-70% just people talking, just slow moments. And some people are using that to call for a slow burn. It's not a slow series at all. It's relatively like fastly paced, if not just like paced well and moderately paced. But like Dylan was saying, there are a lot of hype moments that you will only like actually get hype for if you allow yourself to be invested into the world, invested into the characters, invested into the slight alterations and slight developments that we see, because it's not like big cathartic moments of character development. It's not big action set pieces that give you payoff. It's the little things. It's the little moments. Mm-hmm. It's the humanity in it all. It's the intimacy that makes this shit the thing that it is.
I feel like that is a really, really good point. with the whole action, pacing, people talking. I feel like what Frieren does a really good job of is switching from slice of life to fantasy slice of life to action adventure. Because the whole series is about the memory of Frieren and her adventures and what she's doing in the title beyond the journey's end. And then it's just her finding that purpose in, I guess you would say, being not bored or just being entertained with how long her life is and enjoying, how you said again, the littlest moments to the most impactful things on that wizard world, or with her little groups, with her groups of people that she's hanging out with.
They really did a good time, or they did a good job of developing characters. Like, there was fantastic character development in those 28, and like visual growth that you can see. And when I say visual growth, I mean like the growth of Frieren as like a character. Like, she like developed and these different ideas, and it changed how she thought and all these things. And it's like in the span of 28 episodes, which is quite a few episodes for a season one, especially among what we get nowadays. But it was beautiful character building, like, and character development. Like, they nailed it. They really did it.
Speaking on character development, this just like blew my mind right now. Bro, it gave me chills. Think of this. Let me blow your mind real quick. Let me show you the truth. Ready?
Okay.
Blow me.
Frieren is like the innocent version of Orochimaru.
What?
Can you connect the dots? Let me give you 10 seconds to connect the dots. Can you connect that?
No.
I don't need the 10 seconds. Orochimaru, hold on. Orochimaru, his biggest interest was to master as many jutsus as possible. Frieren's biggest interest was to master, or not master, but collect as many spells as possible. So they have the same idea with that. Orochimaru is just obviously fucked up about
crazy in how he did it.
Yeah, like crazy about how he gains that knowledge. Like, this man is willing to.
Well, that's because this is all. It's also in a world where elves aren't a thing, so there's no like long life kind of stuff like that.
He doesn't give a fuck.
The reanimation jutsu is the only thing he could do to truly pursue that.
But he became like, he overcame that. First of all, he overcame that with his whole, like, I forgot what jutsu was, but his ability to transfer himself into another body.
That's the one I meant.
The Edo Tensei.
Yeah,
is it the Edo Tensei?
I'm not
Something
sure,
like that.
But his ability to do that overcame his mortality. Frieren is just an elf, so she has long lasting life, as that's her anatomy. But yeah, her purpose in gathering these spells is just because, hey, I think magic is cool, and I like how I can just use these whenever I want for the biggest or smallest, is what she's more looking for, the smallest purposes, just to make things just a little bit interesting. Whereas Orochimaru just wants to like kill everybody and become God or something. So,
I'm trying to make sure.
I guess it's I can see where you did connect the dots. Yes, I can see that. It's just it's the one aspect that links them.
It's the attitude.
The idea of collecting everything that they can.
She's not passionate about becoming the most powerful mage. She's just like living life, being chill. Orochimaru had passion to where it consumed him and made him evil.
Fair enough.
Tell me if I'm wrong. I want the viewers to tell me if I'm wrong.
The only thing I'll say, and I'm trying to pull it up on the side here. That's why I'm a bit quiet. I want to say, all right, here we go. Elves have a natural talent for magic, virtually infinite amount of time to train it. This does not mean that all elves pursue the same path as demons do. We do not even know who became a priest. Okay, so basically, I think the only reason why I would disagree is because the trait of I think it's mentioned that a lot of elves, I mean, we just don't know because they were wiped out. But like a lot of elves, if not most elves, is like actual passion in life or journey in life was to collect as many spells as possible. So that's not even like unique to Frieren, I don't believe.
But that's why she lacked. Maybe that's why she lacked passion, because she just was like.
She
And then
does have all the time.
not to mention,
Oh yeah,
that one. Who's that master mage elf? What's her name?
Flam.
No, 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 no. It's Flamel. I think that's. No, never mind. Not
No,
Flam.
you're thinking of some.
Not
You're
Flam.
thinking of a different.
The blonde one. The blonde one. She's an elf.
Siri.
Siri. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Siri.
Oh yeah.
Siri. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
my phone just turned off. Sorry.
I didn't hear it.
Because we said Siri.
Yep.
Hey Siri, what's my address?
Oh my god, bro. Nice try.
Don't give Apple a reason. Don't give Apple a reason.
But yeah, Siri being like the pinnacle of mages everywhere. Freeman didn't want to pursue that same thing as her. And she even said it when she first met Siri. Siri said it when she first met Frieren. Um, she has a knack, but she has no passion.
Yeah.
So, is it worth it? Is it worth for Siri to invest her time in training Frieren? And she said no.
It's because Frieren has come to accept, because she saw like Siri from what was shown in the story. Stop! Oh my god, keeps turning on. She from what was shown in the story, essentially was able to like sit back and still relish in, you know, the fact that she had like accumulated all those spells, all that magical knowledge, and never like went through the same teachings as Flam did with Fern. So because of that unique partnership of having a human master, as well as her still witnessing the evolution of human civilization, granted from afar, but still seeing that evolution, and then compounded on with the 10-year journey, she was able to see and come to terms with the fact that this is an era of humans. Like the elves were wiped out, like for the large majority of them. And the level, and because of the shortened lifespan, it inspires a level of passion, a level of dedication, and a level of like seeking mastery for the entire human, yeah, appreciation of life that humans inherently have, that will like inevitably, whether she wants to or not, whether she's a better mage than them or not, lead to an era of humans. So like she's like, okay, that's inevitable. I've seen this shit. Like I have seen it be exemplified in her party, her current party, her former party, Flam. Like she's seen it grow. So because of that, it is hard for her to. I think that compounds on just the innate fact that elves are assumingly a low passion species, just because of, you know, how they how time moves for them, um and the lack of time movement for them. So I'd assume that like it's not that rare to see a non-passionate elf even in the pursuit of accumulating magic and spells.
That's
And
kind of, yeah. Go ahead.
my fault. And but like they said, I think it was towards the middle of the season, a lot of the magic that humans now use is magic that was like partially perfected by Fern herself. Like between Zoltrak, a lot of the defensive magic.
Yeah, but
Um,
Siri could have done that whenever she wanted, and she didn't.
True.
She didn't want the human or the magical world to evolve more than it should, because
Yeah.
she liked having that title of mastery mage, and she knows that when magic starts to take off in terms of like its knowledge and how much research goes into that, she mentioned like if anybody can use magic, it's just not special anymore.
You know what I found crazy? Not gonna lie. After she passed Fern, she passed like everybody afterwards.
So you're saying that encounter changed her view a little bit?
I don't think any of those people would have passed if she had if she hadn't had that conversation with Fern and been like, wow, this is really an era of humans. I don't think any of them would pass.
What did Siri say again when she saw Fern? Like, I don't even remember. I feel
so basically what happened is Fern was standing there and she started saying, she was thinking, Siri was thinking, like, oh, she's standing there scared just like everybody else. And then she looked a little closer and then she was like, why are you looking at me? Or why are you looking like that? And it's because Farron saw the it's not fear. It was like awe and respect because she could see the fluctuations of her suppressing the mana, but it was a fuck ton of mana still. So she was like, this is a crazy good mage. Like,
so Fern was saying that Siri was a crazy good mage.
Yes, yeah, but the thing is Fern has been the only person. Fern was the only person that saw her fluctuations ever.
Ooh, yeah.
She literally said even her first student only just started to see Frierens, but he never caught on to the fact that his master was suppressing it.
That was the dude she basically like embarrassed.
She shitted on him, Loki.
Yeah, she did.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
But she, like, Fern literally spotted something nobody has ever spotted, and it was just like that. And she, like, it wasn't like she was guessing. Like, she saw it clearly. She was like, I see your fluctuations. Like that. And then immediately Siri understood how strong she was and how good of a mage she's going to be. And that's why she was like, be my student.
Dude, like, Siri when she was talking about that other old guy, like, I remember just being like, wow, I would just fucking jump off a bridge. She's like, look, for as old as you were when I took you in to as old as you are now, you still have not reached, one, my expectations, and two, she was like, and two, this is why I don't take human students. And I was like,
she did roast the fuck out of him, not gonna lie. She roasted the fuck out of all of them.
She ate his ass up. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude,
oh my God. Like, fucking flashbang through the door.
And you know what's crazy, dude? Fern tops all of them.
How old is she again?
Fern tops like all of those motherfuckers, bro.
Fern gotta be like, actually,
she's like 15, maybe 16.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
No, I don't
that's
think
usually
that
maybe 18, maybe 18.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking she's of what we would consider adult age.
Nah,
because I could have sworn that she was
Google it.
Still
Google
16, maybe.
Yeah, by chapter 29, she's 18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's about. I think that's when they leave the first. That's when they're about to go to.
Here's the thing, bro. You can't even sexualize these characters. It's too wholesome of an anime for like I can't do that, bro. I can't be like I personally can't, bro.
Just to be clear,
I haven't sought after them, but
just to be clear, Dylan has not been trying to do that. He's just saying that.
Dylan's not on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess that's fair because
Dylan's not on Reddit.
It's hard for me to do that. I can't disrespect Fern like that. Like that's just and Frieren too. Like you can say like nah. Frieren
this man is like edging the comments.
Yeah, I'm saying you are daring them niggas, and they're coming in. They're coming in our Discord as soon as this gets posted. Prove him wrong. Prove him wrong.
I don't want to be proven wrong, dude. I don't want to see Frieren the show
we're better
in that
than
state,
this. No,
bro.
We're better than this. That's right.
I don't want to see that.
Put
I don't want to see that.
Don't put it in general, please. You will get banned.
God damn.
Oh my god.
But it exists. I get what you're saying. Like this is a show, and it has fan service. You know.
Yeah, if there's a few characters.
Well, not even that. I mean, like,
or one character, maybe.
Frieren twerking when she's head first in a dummy chest.
That's just funny, bro. Like it
is funny, but it's
not
also
even like
it's
like
also,
they don't.
it's also
nothing is shown. Nothing is shown at all.
No,
that I remember at least
the inkling earlier in the season when Frieren was gonna give Stark the undress potion.
Stop!
I forgot about that. I forgot about those moments.
a few others like that. So I mean, I agree with you for the most part, but there are sickos on this planet, and
that's true. That's true.
They do sick things.
You know what's another really cool detail that I like from the final episode is that the spell that Fern chose to get, like for her like what spell she got from Ciri, and how like Frieren said it's like a legendary or like mythological spell or like something crazy, but it was a spell to like easily clean clothes,
iron clothes,
like
basically.
Yes, no, like basically it just makes them clean and fresh and like makes them like smell nice or something like that, and so they don't have to do laundry anymore. And Frieren was like, "That's like a legendary myth or something crazy high rarity spell." And
I would understand that. For us, that's a legendary mythological spell.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, that is very true. Like
fucking water bill, gas
I understand
bill goes down the drain. You don't have to worry about it.
Why it's so good.
Oh yeah.
But so here's my question. So how do grimoires tend to work? Like, do you like when they read, like, is it just like you read the book and then they know the spell now, or like how does that work for like Fern got the grimoire, but can she show it to Frieren and Frieren learns that spell?
Do you want me to answer that?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know the answer.
I'll answer that because I do have some knowledge of the sorts. I'm a wizard. Fucking when you read a grimoire, it's already imbued with the magical incantation, and it's single use. So when you read it, you gain that ability, and that's it. You can't reuse the grimoire again, at least to my knowledge. But that does change. I mean, you can change that from universe to universe, but from what I know, officially, once you read a grimoire, you can't use it again. Like you can read the words that are on there,
which makes sense because that's why whenever Ciri it said that whenever she gave her the book, she wasn't happy about giving it away because it means she has to do laundry again. That's why. I'm wondering if that's. I'm pretty sure that's the reason she wasn't happy to give it away because now she has to do laundry again.
Oh, making a grimoire is a bitch and a half for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that she just didn't want to like make another one of that because she must have the spell already for herself unless she
just has the power to create grimoires as well.
Well, anyone can create a grimoire. It's just a bitch and a half to make. Like it's just they're extremely rare. Which if you have a grimoire, it is valued to be so much money, regardless of if it's even like the smallest thing. Because
that's why Flam's grimoires, even though they're duds, they're worth a bunch in the world.
They're worth a ton of money because you have the ability to just pick up a magical spell just from reading a book. At least I think, like, as long as you have the knack for magic, like, just do whatever. But
is that like what universe was that like set in stone in? Like a Tolkien book or something?
So I just have like I couldn't even tell you. My knowledge is just a fucking collection
jumble of everything
of everything that I've encountered magic wise, every universe from Harry Potter to fucking League of Legends,
and most of them take from the same shit, fucking Lord of the Rings. So that's why I'm assuming in some way, shape, or form, like it traces itself back to either Tolkien or someone that was directly inspired by Tolkien or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
I know specifically for Frieren, a lot of the world building, and actually we'll get into some of the criticisms soon, so we don't just jack her off because she's dickless.
Why not? It's a great show.
She's dickless. We can't jack her off. Not anymore. But a lot of what some people are saying is that they aren't taking as to a liking as some other people in terms of the world building with the series. Because it is just generic fantasy. It's a cool little Tolkien world. It's a cool little fantasy world. Well, this one person said that it was carried by animation.
That's cap.
Bro, what? No, that's
absolute
crazy.
cap.
That's crazy.
That's cap.
Carried by animation is absolutely insane. It's not Demon Slayer. We know the difference.
They directly compare it to Demon Slayer.
Are you fucking joking?
We know the difference between Demon Slayer and
People
Frieren.
Are fucking stupid.
Or Frieren. I keep saying her name.
Who's that Pokemon?
You can say your statement that will definitely make River go, what the fuck, and then you can explain your point.
Yeah, River. Let me give you some goosebumps here. Ready? Ooh.
Goosebumps.
Okay. Goosebumps. All right. So Dylan mentioned something that just like connected the fucking brain cells all in my mind working together, and they said, holy fuck, the math is mathin'. Is Frieren an innocent version of Orochimaru?
No.
Let me hold on. Let me explain. Orochimaru's biggest interest was to collect as many jutsus as possible and master them.
Well, test them
so that
as well
he can become
on people.
And so that he can become damn near a god, but that whole thing came later when he
River, you're telling me Frieren didn't test some of these spells on people?
And Frieren,
I'm pretty sure she tested the see-through blow spell.
To become a god. She doesn't really care.
No,
about
but that's what I'm saying. She's innocent, bro. That's what I'm saying. This is where it branches off. Her interests were to collect as many spells as possible, test them, but just because she enjoys to do that. Like, that's her thing. I want to collect as many spells as possible, big or small.
And you made the point, or I think I might have piggybacked off you or something like that. But the main thing that like is different between the two is that Frieren does have a long life to learn all this stuff, and the only reason that Orochimaru had to get dirty and start transferring himself into bodies is because he doesn't have that long life. He's
right.
So
right. He broke the taboo, stole people's bodies, and transferred himself into their bodies so that he can gain more time to master these jutsu or to discover more jutsu. Whereas Frieren, she's damn near immortal, right? Or she has an extremely long life. What is she like? How old is she now? Is she 5,000 years old?
I have no idea. I thought it was just
I'm
one.
speaking. Was it 1,000? Let me see.
I thought it was something over one, like something like just over 1,000. I thought cardiac might know
like thousands of years.
Oh, she's thousands of years? Okay.
Yeah. No, she said over 1,000 years. Although she appears to be very young, she was born into a long blah blah blah. Lived for over 1,000 years. So
because like what you call it? Well, I thought you were talking about her lifespan.
I don't think it gives us everything we need to know to confirm the exact age.
Yeah, no, it says 1,000 years because when she fought that one demon girl, she was like, your mana's at about 500 years worth. And then she's like, but mine's at 1,000. And I was like, oh.
Yeah,
so
which means that's got to be her age.
Yeah, well, over 1,000 years old for sure.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly, but it's over 1,000.
Yeah.
And under 2,000.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. What's your take? Do you think that Frieren is the innocent version of Orochimaru?
Now having heard that explanation.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie, I don't see the vision, but I mean,
that's
you tried.
Wild.
That's okay. If it's too complex of an idea for
it's
you,
really not.
I just don't.
I just don't
okay.
like.
Yeah.
It's all that connects them.
Kind of person. He doesn't think this deep into shit.
All that connects them.
You can't get that
is them wanting to learn shit
into things.
That's it, really. It's just they both want to learn shit. I don't see how that's enough to really make that connection.
I mean,
well, it's okay. We'll leave it to the audience.
We'll leave it up to them. We'll leave it up to them.
We'll leave it to the audience.
Okay. I guess the tests for how smooth your brain is whether or not you agree with this, River. Frieren has got to be the most overhyped seasonal anime I've ever seen. I've seen people talk about it like it's the first fantasy anime ever.
Light mode?
This is not my account. This is a burner.
Why is that? Hold on. Why is that the first thing you notice? Black and white? Like, are you racist? Seriously?
River only sees color.
Like,
light mode is just,
River sees color before everything else.
I don't use light mode.
River doesn't look for personality. He just looks for color.
Basically, they go on to say that that it's essentially just Mushoku Tensei without Gunner and pedophilia. So it's a standard.
But it's not even a
RPG
fucking isekai.
But is that maybe that's what we needed? Like maybe that's the change that we're looking for.
Like this was one of the most refreshing changes of pace that I've witnessed in a while.
Exactly, and I don't.
Hold on,
once I drop an anime, it takes a while for me to pick it back up. But I picked it back up, and I don't regret my decision. Whoever this is.
This is what got me. He said halfway in it becomes a full-on battle shonen.
That's so fun.
With neither world building nor a magic system as fleshed out as Magi.
Oh, because they were doing the fucking test?
It's such an open book that every name of the character or place is just a German word of the most literal description possible of what the thing is.
Can you scroll up?
I mean, I don't know German. So
I don't know that shit. So that does not affect me that much.
What? Yeah, for sure.
Sorry.
I guess the Germans are really I said I guess the Germans are just not impressed by the name of the spells if you're German.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like even that in itself, like that's I don't know.
I would say this take is hit and miss. Whoever this was cooking a little bit. Certain points, not so much. I do feel as though it's not like the most overhyped thing because if you're comparing it to Mushoku, I guess the person whoever this is don't like Mushoku either. Then if this is overhyped, so I think that like Mushoku is a pretty good comparison without peppermint patty shit and all that stuff, right? Or whatever. I think it's a good comparison. I think they're pretty much a level playing field. I will say in which I think Mushoku's strengths, certain strengths of Mushoku are a little bit different than Frieren. I think Frieren is deeper than this person's giving it credit for. However, I do think that like when it did kind of come into the exam and shit, it got a bit boring to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Wild. That's a wild take.
Not gonna lie.
What? Wait, hold on. I just want to count. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Can you scroll down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My goodness. Well, appreciation towards the longevity of the review. I feel like it's just half baked, to be honest. Because like you can't say. Go ahead.
It's all just opinions.
I'm just reading.
It's all just opinions at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Read that's why I stay out of social media so I can just heed my own thoughts.
The more I think about the series, the more I think it lacks the fuck is that? Amalgamation? The fuck does that mean? Of things that
just
were
a combination.
Yeah.
Okay. That were done.
Bro
trying to sound smart for real. We're done better than a dozen anime from the last 8 years, with one distinguishing part being the use of retroactive characterization with Himmel flashbacks. Dozen anime, maybe a lot. I mean, he'd have to kind of, or whoever, I don't know if it's whoever it is. Had to actually spell out what dozen anime they're speaking of. So, yeah, I think that would be important, but I would agree there's been definitely anime that have done it better. I won't disagree with that. So yeah, I think overall it's just a bit too far. But not completely too far. If that makes sense. Like kind of like
RPG,
bro was trying to hit
fantasy action. Except
no, I'm definitely on
if
the
you
Frieren.
if you're doing
top
archery
10, or not top
and you're
10,
trying to hit the
10
middle
or 10 out of 10 rating bandwagon for Frieren. That's me for sure.
like if you were doing archery, like definitely this take hit like the second one in, but it ain't hit the whatever this shit called, the middle part. You know.
Out of 10, what would you rate this review? Because it's okay. So I like Frieren. I'll admit I didn't like it in the beginning because it was too slow for me. But once I reignited that firecracker, that shit popped and went off. I, I don't want to be the guy to just call this person's review mid just because I like Frieren and they don't.
Yeah.
But like,
do they even not like Frieren?
The math ain't mathing.
Yeah, the
for
points
me.
that
like,
he made,
math ain't mathing.
I just see as irrelevant.
Or we'll say cold. We'll say cold.
It's not even that if it's
Cold.
irrelevant. It's just,
does Cold not like Frieren?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what Cole said in this thing or the critic.
They're just saying that it's overhyped.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'll say this. I think that first off, to be honest, I don't think that there was much hype about Frieren.
Now there is now.
As someone
now there is,
even,
yeah, for sure.
Even
I don't
now,
here's what I'll say. I don't be seeing shit about Frieren. And this is a bad example, but fuck it. Like I'll scroll through TikTok and I'll see clips of all these animes that are like older animes too, but like newer seasonal, less known like seasonal anime or whatever. I'll see all these clips. I don't hardly ever see anything Frieren on TikTok, and that may just be me, but like, and that's like the only social media I really use, and so that's kind of my fucking like judgment based off of it. But I like Frieren was not like blowing up on fucking TikTok or anything like that. But like I said, bad judgment because that's the only thing I can use as like a basis. But I don't know.
Based on Twitter,
it's not the worst basis.
From my Twitter at least, like especially when Frieren ended, like my whole timeline was Frieren. And then like with the My Anime List shit too, with how high it's rated and how it seems to like not be dropping. I think that.
But that's that's not hype. That's just praise. Like that's just people saying that X is good.
And
then what is hype?
To take out the argument, hold on. To take out the argument of it could be your algorithm. You like Frieren, so you're going to see more Frieren stuff. To take out the argument of that, when I was posting on TikTok and when you post with using the hashtags. Right, they tell you how many posts have come out using that certain hashtag, and when I put hashtag Frieren, it was only like 30K. Whereas some of this other stuff, like when you see like the more bigger title in anime, like the big three and all a bunch of other ones, like they're up there at like 100K or like 1 bill. Like Frieren does not have that much being posted about it. And I did use different keywords, Frieren Beyond Adventure, the fucking, what's that called? Where you only use the first letter of, what is that called?
The first letter?
An acronym?
Yeah, when you use the first letter, what was it?
An acronym?
Yeah, acronym. There you go. Acronym.
Oh.
The acronym of the title. Like even using that, there was the numbers went down as I changed it from Frieren. Like they're not. It's not trending as much as some people think it is.
What are we defining as?
At least on TikTok.
The hype is just sheer publicity. Hype is just sheer like how popular something is, how push something is, and how like in the cultural zeitgeist it is. It wasn't in like this shit. It wasn't in people's faces all season.
That's fair.
I said it once. I'll say it again. It started off slow, but after episode 3, it's definitely worth like binging. Honestly, in my opinion, it's definitely worth binging through.
Yeah, I could only imagine binging this show.
Yeah, it does a good job at hitting emotions, hitting the action aspect, keeping it low and high, like just keeping you invested. So
awesome.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think we're on the same page.
Serious, man.
Yeah. All right. I gotta go. I gotta go coach some little kids in soccer. So
Have
luck.
fun.
Hey,
Don't kick them too hard.
be
I will
easy.
not do that.
Don't beat children. We don't like that. Unless it's your own child, then you can beat them as hard as you want.
No, we don't
What?
Discipline.
endorse.
The word is discipline, sir. You can
Oh.
discipline them.
Yeah.
Back to grilling you.
Yeah,
You
River's
turd.
dumbass. Because I think Cardiac and I are definitely on the same page of Frieren is goaded. And
Okay.
River needs
Yeah,
to
man.
Well,
suck
to speak
Frieren's-
on the
you
hype
need
thing
to get
again.
you need to get on your knees and kiss the feet of Frieren because
Fuck
that
no.
that
Okay,
show
so
deserves it.
to finish out the hype argument, I think among the hardcore anime fans, that shit was pushed a lot, heavily.
Okay, even within hardcore, because now you're specifying it to like hardcore, so probably on the internet, like Mal or any list users or people that like actively keep up week to week anime.
Yes.
Even within that, I still don't think it was pushed.
And bro, most of the
because
big...
it wasn't talked.
Oh, go ahead.
It wasn't talked about really. Like it was talked about. It was talked about on occasion towards the end of the season from a gig. It was talked about after the first few episodes by Mast, and then after that, it's like end of the season, and then after the first episode, because the first episode was the 3 episodes together or 4 episodes together. I forgot. But like at the beginning and end, yeah. But like in the meat, episode reactions weren't getting numbers like that. There wasn't any real activity on Twitter, even after the first core. Like even through the midway point, I mean, it was not the most like trending series at all, even within the community. And then if we want to get to outside of the community, like Ninja Kamui's first few episodes were doing greater numbers, like on a normie basis. I'd say that Solo Leveling, when that first started airing, probably got a little bit more pushed and talked about and more coverage outside of hardcore. So I wouldn't say that it was hyped at all. Like it's just been like reviewed favorably,
And
By,
rightfully
like,
so.
People speak well on it.
Rightfully so.
But everyone who talks about it does, like, I don't know. I'm scrolling through YouTube right now, and this shit was pulling views.
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's if you're gonna talk like that, River. Here's my issue with it. If you're gonna say, but it's just everybody saying good stuff about Frieren. There you go. That's a lot of people saying good things about Frieren. That's like when does it become hype or overhype or something like that? When like why can't you just take a consensus and see all these people saying good things and be like, wow.
No, I'm not saying I'm not coming from the angle of it being overhyped. I'm just saying it is hyped. That's all. But everyone's saying good things. That is hype to me. That means it was it's a hyped show. People are excited about it.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I don't think it was as like all encompassing, basically. Because like when I think about hype, first off, like I said, it's sheer popularity. And also whenever I think about hype, I think about
I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I think about the pressure built up from a community of people who like view this as good and spread that opinion in droves in like an all-encompassing aspect. Yeah, I get what you mean. Like videos were made on it. People were talking about it. Like I said, mostly at the beginning and mostly at the end. That in between, from a week-to-week basis, episode 10 wasn't getting coverage like that. Episode 18 wasn't getting no coverage like that. There was no like mid-season thing that like revitalized the series, or there was no Demon Slayer episode 19 moment. I guess the closest thing to that was the castle fight. The first fight where it was basically like Frieren fighting old demon girl, and then Fern fighting the dudes at the castle. But beyond that, like these videos are from 5 months ago, and then like 2 weeks ago, and that's it. So like in terms of just sheer people talking, It wasn't. But you're right. Like when people do talk about it, they speak highly of it. But I mean, it's a good series.
I mean, I'm seeing like month, 2 months, 3 months ago. I don't know, but regardless, like even the manga as well did really well with sales too. Like I think like
yeah,
you know I think it's
a popular series. Don't get me wrong. Like I
for good reason though. I feel like that keeps
popular.
getting overlooked. Like it's for a good reason.
Okay, so are we not gonna say that Attack on Titan isn't hyped? Attack on Titan's hyped like shit.
But that is like one of the most mainstream anime that literally blew up like worldwide.
Yeah,
like
well, I'll ask this: do you not see a difference in the level of conversation? Even whenever you came into Attack on Titan, do you not see a level of difference in
for sure.
the level of conversation of that and Frieren right now?
Like, I feel like that is an obvious difference. Like like everybody talked about Attack on Titan. Yeah, everybody.
For some reason, the point, Dylan, you're making is like, oh, because it's a good show, hype doesn't exist. Like that's what it sounds like you're saying, which is just false.
It's just I don't see it as hype is too high octane of a word for the attention Frieren was getting. I feel like hype is too exaggerating. It's not like hype is like the shit. Hype is people dancing to Mashal. Hype is people fucking.
But no one cares about
the fucking AOT opening shit like that, bro. You get what I mean by that. River, shut your mouth. People, that's hype is people fucking singing along to every fucking Attack on Titan opening because it's every opening is so hype and every moment is like I don't know, bro. Those are two very different shows and with two very different levels of attention.
Let me ask you, if you had to compare the level of what you perceive to be hype to be between Frieren and between when Tokyo Revengers season 1 was airing, what would you say had more hype?
I'd say they were pretty close. I'd say Tokyo Revengers would take it though.
I think Tokyo Revengers was getting talked much more.
But Tokyo Revengers kind of fell off though as it went. So like,
yeah, no, like that's why I specified season 1.
Even season 1 kind of did too. I feel like so. Like
potentially, I'll remember the coverage as freshly at the end of the season to the beginning, but
kind of after that fight where I mean not to spoil, but well, I guess that was towards the end of the season. Okay, it was still getting hype. Yeah, it was still getting hype. But again, to me, I think saying Frieren doesn't have hype is very wrong. Like
it has it, but it's like it's not that much, to be honest with you. I don't really know why, but like it's just not talked about like as much as I think it should be and could be.
I feel like it's just because of the vibe of the show. The vibe of the show isn't some high octane shit. It's just a chill show.
Hype isn't high octane.
Really good. I think it is.
To me, that's not what that means. Hype just means people pushing a show, pushing an agenda, thinking it's good. We have different definitions of
hype then, because I think of hype as that's just.
If a show is hype,
you think your rage knows what Frieren is?
No.
That's hype. That's what we had.
But that's what I'm saying in
that's
terms
what
of
Solo Leveling had.
The more hardcore anime fans. Like, you know, I would say your rage is probably more of a casual anime fan, which is fine. But he just hears about the big shows that everyone
and like yeah, within I'll give you more credence like within the anime community, sure, because like when you're in the community, there are more things than just viral moments to look for, so there are more things to give hype for. But overall, and even putting this in context of the original post that we're talking about, or just like it being overhyped or what it's deserving of, I think it's deserving of more hype.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. I think it needs. It needs more.
Not just because like I want other people to see how great of a series it is. No, I want to see how a series like this fares with the general public. I want to see, because like I mentioned this to Dylan before. In the pre-show, subscribe to the Patreon if y'all want to see the shenanigans that we get on before the episode starts. But Frieren. After the first like episode, there were like 100 users on Mal watching it. It was like an 8.9. right? 100,000 more people start watching. It catches up to Attack on Titan 9.10. I mean, or 9.1. By mid-season, it's at like 300K. It's at a 9.2. Finale comes out, reaches a 9.4 and gains 50,000 more 10 out of 10 scores. 50,000 more users rated it a 10 out of 10. 5,000 people rated it a 9. 5,000 more people rated it an 8. But like 10 times that gave it a perfect score. And even if the hype is just within the central anime community, I wonder what a series like that, a series that I won't say is a slow burn, but it's not, because it's not action, the pacing to a lot of people just view action as dictating what pacing is, right? They can't dictate pacing as how many locations you visit, how much actual like physical time has passed. They can't quantify it in character development.
They've covered to their end goal.
Yeah, a lot of people just quantify it as how many fights are happening, how close to the next fight, from set piece to set piece, action piece to action piece, plot to plot point, right? Frieren is still relatively fast paced, like even beyond just using that metric of it. It's relatively fast, if not like slightly over moderately paced. But the action is few far in between, and it's like 80% people talking. It's like fucking Oppenheimer, right? It's people in rooms having conversations with each other, getting mad at each other, anime hijinks, and then like, you know, just a group of people learning more about humanity in the world, right?
And I mean, they're also building on just like the relationships within that pod.
Yeah.
Like that's something that's slowly being built as well. The relationship between Fern and Stark, and just how Frieren is changing as a character, and how she's molding into this new group and taking care of these. Like that's like, not only is it happening outside of that group, but they're also like making smaller and more detailed details, like specifically within that group.
Yeah. No, I just want to know how a casual audience reacts to it.
Yeah, I feel you, and it is like different from the anime that usually get that kind of hype in terms of like extreme hype. Like, I'm not trying to say Frieren has extreme hype. My point was always it's just that it's hype. Okay. Yeah. And again, I did just not to necessarily try to make this a gotcha, but Frieren had about 630,000 members, and Soul Leveling has 520 on my anime list. So, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, what's your point there? That Frieren is getting more attention
than
Solo Leveling?
More people are watching Frieren that are on my anime list than Solo Leveling.
But even so, I'd say that like if you have a My Anime List account, you're a fucking nerd.
Yep.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's hyped among the nerds. That was my point. That was always my point.
But. Yeah. And I'll say that's like it's slowly gotten more. And like I said, it got an end of season push as well. Like people made videos 5 months ago, 4 months ago, and then like, you know, they made a follow up like 2 weeks ago, if not now.
Yep.
And those videos are getting 600K ml. So, but what are your overall opinions on the finale, or just the show overall?
Well, I will to just start, you know, to soften the blow a little bit. The final episode I thought was really good. Final episode was really good. I thought it tied up everything extremely well. However, I think that overall, it was kind of, as I was liking it as it built up. Like the beginning was strong. It was relatively good throughout. You know, it kind of was a little bit up and down for me. I think the magic exam started off on a down. As it progressed, I thought it was kind of boring, to be honest. And then as it got a little farther, it got a little better, but I didn't love it too much. To be completely honest. So I think that once that was over, once the final episode kind of came around, things tied together, that gave me a better outlook on it. However, I definitely don't like rate it as high as y'all do, for sure. I think I would still probably maintain around the 8.5 rating for what I've seen. Again, I don't think it was ever bad. I just think that it kind of had its ups and downs as it went for me, and it had its good moments, it had its great moments, and it had its moments where I'm just like, this is cool, and it had moments where I don't care. And it was just kind of that kind of thing where it was relatively consistently good, but it fluctuated a little bit up or down type shit.
Interesting.
I can see. There were some things. There were some things that I had set like the internal expectation for in the exam arc. But the things that they still did end up exploring, from the two girls that Frieren was originally paired up with. I'll probably agree with you and say that was probably the worst part of the season.
Yes.
The worst part of the season was the first round.
I didn't. Those two girls were like lame. I don't know. I fucked with them the least.
I fucked with them. I just feel like that was probably the slowest part of the season. It not only did it separate the main trio extremely. Of course, Stark wasn't involved in the entire exam,
which bummed me out, but it's okay.
Yeah, and then it separated Fern and Frieren. Of course, it did that, but also, like, even within, there was like an episode where like even Frieren was barely in it. And although I was much more accepting of the girls than it seems like you were, it was still like, okay, Frieren is what makes this show for me, and I would like to see her interact with this. Now, they did later on, like she did later on after, I think it was when she decided to break the barrier, or after the first time they tried to get one of those birds. I think after the first time they tried to get one of those birds, then she started talking to them and like actually butting into whenever they would, be picking fights with each other and just doing kiddo shenanigans. But up until then, yeah, that was definitely the worst part of the season. But I also don't want to, like, I expected the second exam, the way that it was built up with her saying, "Yeah, I've never passed anybody," and also they mentioned the fact that that she wanted to create a. It seemed like they were setting her up to have like a twisted or a different view of how mages operate in the world.
I was let down.
So I was expecting, especially once like copies of, them come. I didn't expect them to just have to like just fight them to get their way out of it. Like I was not expecting. I was expecting some other solution to that.
Not only did it feel a bit easy, but like as it progressed, it felt as though the stakes went down because it was like, well, like no one's gonna die. Like that kind of became pretty obvious. Like, oh, they're gonna probably just win, is what it kind of felt like to me as it progressed. So,
well, a sizable amount of people were taken out,
but we didn't know who the fuck they were.
I mean, well, if you're looking for stakes of Frieren losing, I think you're watching.
Not even Frieren, but like if like if like I don't know just one of like if the old dude would have died or something like
nah, Denkin, don't you dare fucking disrespect Denkin, bro.
Don't
say that he would die, bro.
It's just an example of a character we actually got to know and cared about. If the stakes would have been like, okay, like these people can actually die in this, because it was built up that way, and then nothing really happened.
Well, I'm glad. I don't need deaths to be intrigued in a show.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you need deaths to be intrigued, but if you're gonna build up stakes,
I don't think they built
not have a payoff. It's kind of like,
I don't think they built up the stake that someone could die.
Yeah, if you thought the pacing of the show was leading towards somebody dying, I think we weren't watching the same show. Because
he's saying the stakes, not the pacing, the stakes that they were establishing.
Pacing was
like
wrong,
I'm assuming you mean with the Golem.
Yeah, Gollum.
When they were setting in place the rules for.
And then again with the girl and you speaking on how I cannot remember now. Whatever it was. Start with the S. But the fact that it seemed like she was gonna be like evil, or not necessarily evil, but have some other type of thought process on mages, whatever. And it turned out that like she a different world, but
and then she was following Frieren and Ferd and did jack shit.
Yeah, exactly. It just seemed like she was just kind of like, her character kind of became whatever too. And I was intrigued by her character,
yeah.
but she didn't really have no substance for the most part. So it was just kind of like, well, okay.
I don't think Sense was put there to add substance to the show. I think she was there as a body to make another challenge in the test. That was all.
Yeah, but the way
she wasn't a challenge.
Yeah, that too.
For that specific person.
For who?
Even not for Fern and Fern, nah.
Yeah, who
like there was nothing after the episode where she does join in on them, which is when they begin the dungeon. She doesn't do shit. Like true, like there's that side door that they get into. They go in there, and then she they look around. It's like gold in there and shit. And she says like something, or Fern stops to talk to her. And then after that, I don't think they acknowledge that she's even following those two for the rest of the test.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think it was like until they got to the end where they were like asking her questions and she wasn't answering them, type shit.
Yeah, and then she was just like sitting back looking at them playing.
Yeah, and like even that to me is fine, but then when we get to the conclusion of everything, she still had nothing really to offer. So it was just like, she could have been more for sure. I think personally, and the fact that the only really interesting person out of that entire group, the old guy is slightly interesting, I guess, and then the actual main elf. So, whatever her name was, the main one, and then the old dude who was her student. Other than the old dude wasn't even that interesting, and then the elf herself was the only really interesting one out of that conglomerate of people making the test and shit. So I don't know.
I view a lot of those people as just like general world building. A lot of what that part of the series was doing, basically just the second part of the season was doing, at least in my opinion, was showcasing Fern's impact on people. Like anyone who she comes across, anyone who she touches, anyone who she blesses with her presence, with her magic, with her skill, with her prowess, she changes them. And granted, there are some people that like she definitely doesn't, like that girl that everyone thought was going to end up being evil. And then the dude she was rocking with that turned out to have his clones. And
that was crazy. That was pretty sick. The fact that he was never on the fucking testing facility site the entire time.
But I also don't view it as a letdown, the fact that they never interacted with Frieren, because that can always happen, right?
Yeah, that was fine.
Like, yeah. So a lot. That's why I view a lot of those characters. That's how I view the tall dude that failed. So I view those two girls. Well, they're more. You can say that they're more so like how Frieren impacts people for sure. That's how I view even Denkin, even though I feel like Denkin's finna die, but also the girl that he was rolling with. That's how I view a lot of the characters that were in the test that might not have gotten the shine or might not have ended up being as important as they were. Because we still have a Siri that ended up being as important. We still had a moment with one of Siri's students, or former students, where he then had tried to get his.
I think he's still a student. Himself. I think.
I think he still works for her. I don't think he's like an understudy anymore though. When he tried to prove himself versus Frieren, so he still had a sizable amount of characters that still were impactful aside from the duo.
Really, how sizable are we really talking? Because the old guy was very minimal of a moment, so I feel like that's kind of okay. Then you had I can't remember the elf girl name again. I literally just said it, but her, and then Dankin, and then the dude with the light blue hair, and then really the girls are they didn't have too much of an impact, to be honest. They were just kind of there most of the time, I guess. Besides building out the fact that Frieren had an impact on them.
Ever sexist? Question mark?
Huh?
Oh my god! But I was just like that. That was like a 7-episode sequence, and like most of it we're still following Frieren and Fern, and then for the second test they're back together. So like it's really just so the 3 episodes of the first test, and then like maybe a total episodes worth of runtime. That's about what you said. You named like 4 or 5 characters. if that's what you build in that's what you build. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah,
because like that's what you built and had an immediate impact. Like we said, there's still other characters that they touched on that didn't really have that direct of
I want to see more of
interaction
the
with
monk.
Fern and Fern. The monk's gonna come back. We know the monk's gonna come
back.
But what's it called? There's still
what
other
about that other
characters
priest
they built
dude?
through
What
that
about the other
just didn't
priest
have
dude?
any. I mean, I don't know. I
That'd be
haven't
sick.
read it, but I'm saying, like, this it's a long story.
I mean, he was in the Indian thing, so I mean, maybe
It's ongoing. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's not over.
It felt as though
the
they
manga
probably
is not finished, or is the manga completed?
No, it's not. It's not done. No.
The manga's not finished.
Okay, interesting.
I
might have to start reading it.
It felt as though they threw too many characters at us and tried to build up all of them, and like it just was too much. Like, I felt like if they would have just honed in on like a couple a little more than they did,
River's smooth brain couldn't handle it.
No, because they just didn't build up the characters. That has nothing
Woo!
to do with anything.
Woo!
But I don't think that they were still able to build characters. They just didn't have an immediate impact on the story, which is fine.
But will they eventually, you think? I mean, maybe. If they do, okay, well then prove me wrong, I guess. But
I mean, it's like a world where it's a world, and it's not as if the show hasn't proven already that, like, through Fern's journey, right? A lot of the reason why I feel like we have as many callbacks and flashbacks as we do is to prove that Frieren has just met a bunch of people over the course of her adventure, that she just knows people in different places. And you don't plan for that. You just meet people. You just greet people. You just have dinner with people. You just have people repair your staff. You just happen to take a test with somebody. You just happen to stumble across this town that has this historian or whatever, this person that preserves this statue. And like that's the part of Frieren that I think that, like, even people who have it like at an 8.5 but don't have it at a 10, or people who have it at a 7 and don't see what people are praising, it's the beauty in just meeting a bunch of people. You don't know when you're gonna come across them again, but for someone with as long of a life as Frieren, she's proven to just run back into people who she saved before, who she's come across, who have just happened to be taken up as apprentices by her loved ones. Like,
I think that may have been part of the downgrade that was the exam, is because I felt like it took away from that aspect in terms of trying to then going and focusing on these other characters instead of just focusing more on Frieren, as where I think the rest of the show had before that. And so you get Fern moments, you get Stark moments. But like, other than, it's still mainly honed in on Frieren and then her, significant people in her life, right? Whereas in the exam, I feel like they introduce a lot more characters and then they'd go focus on them here and there and really not on Frieren, which I think you even mentioned that as criticism as well, Cardiac. And I think that is what made it go down for me in that aspect, potentially a little bit as well. I'm realizing now.
Yeah,
but.
And I can get that. Like I said, we shared some criticisms. It's just that, like, to me, nothing's perfect. Like, when I say that something's a perfect 10 out of 10, I don't mean it's a perfect story. I don't think there is a perfect story. I like you. But like, stories have flaws, but I think that, at least for me, what makes something a 10 out of 10 is if the thing that it does the best, it doesn't necessarily have to be the best of all time, but if the thing that it does the best can resonate me with in a way to where it can supersede those flaws, then it can be a 10 for me. And for me, the sheer showcase of like humanity and life in this series and how delicate that can be, appreciating, like, to me, it would be cheap if, like, over the course of this exam they just had someone just die. That would be cheap, because like,
just die.
We've seen them be in, we've seen them be in less controlled environments and no one's died. This is a control test. Like, yeah, it's dangerous, but like, there are proctors. In the first round, there was a literal barrier to keep like outside forces from interacting with them. They're proctors, they're test givers, like they're in a big group. If someone dies, that's fucking crazy. That's crazy. That would be like a Dragon Ball moment of like, oh shit, he just killed Krillin. He must be strong. That would be like how corny that shit is to me. And like that would not be becoming of what this series is. But so then, like the fact that they were able to, at least to me, instill stakes even without having someone die, it's commendable to me. So I don't know.
But then also in that perspective, why like have like them like get like stabbed like that and shit? Multiple people have that happen, and then it's just kind of like, oh well, they just get healed easily. Like I don't know. That was kind of weird too to me a little bit, because it seemed like the proctors we had a clear. They made it very clear to us that the proctors don't really care if people die, and then still no one really dies. So that to me is where it's like, okay.
They have a life-saving golem that can run through walls and deflect bullets.
Yeah. Like why?
So like we don't. It would be immersion breaking if one of those people still passed. All those people failed.
No, not all of them.
Like the stake is that now they have to wait another 3 years.
Who got injured? No, but I'm saying who got injured like that and passed.
Well, all the ones who had to leave did. I'm trying to remember if anyone actually got injured that stayed.
I don't think they did. Like everyone that got injured, I think the closest thing was like the girl who was just the primary healer, but the way that they had their party, like she was not in combat at all. So,
are you sure that one person didn't die?
And yeah, I was about to say, and I could have sworn that like one of the earlier.
It was. I could have sworn it was when the one dude stayed behind to defend against Sense's replica, and his friend was running away.
Actually, yeah,
he might have died.
He might have died. Actually,
so Rivers' theory debunked. Suck yourself.
But we didn't know who the fuck that was.
But you were talking about how nobody was dying.
Yeah, but like we don't. If someone who we don't care about dies, that's pretty insignificant to me, though. Like,
well, why don't you care about them? Because like they were the focus. I believe that party was the focus of that episode.
They were probably the focus for like 5 to 10 minutes of the episode, and even then, we didn't even know the dudes' names. We knew the girl's name because they wanted her to come hypnotize.
I mean,
Frieren, but that's it.
How about this, River? It's rather than care about him, see that the test does actually have those kinds of stakes. Because you were saying the test didn't have those kinds of stakes, but
I don't know. To me,
if he was an unnamed character, even if he was a character that we did not care about or anything like that, regardless, it like you were saying that there were no stakes like that, but that shows that it's there.
To a degree, yeah. To a degree. But I still think...
Not to a degree. It's the stake. It specifically shows that people can die in this test. That's not like a probably or a possibly. Somebody dies, so it shows that can happen.
If someone insignificant dies, the stakes in terms of a viewer, you're not like, oh my gosh, like one of the characters I like could die.
But that's not what I'm saying. The point is that they know that characters can die in this situation.
Well, even beyond that, like I said earlier, it should not be through anyone's head that Frieren, Stark, or Fern.
That's not. Like, that's the thing, too. Like, I'm not even, like, that's not a worry.
Unless you're saying that, like, the old man should have been at risk.
I mean, there's other characters that we got to know more and stuff like that in the thing that could... My point is really just, it felt like they tried to make it that, and then it wasn't. So it was kind of a letdown. Is kind of my point.
Why you need to have character deaths to have...
But why make it seem like that? Just to not do it.
When did they make it seem like that?
They made the proctors very clear that they didn't care about people dying. They tried to build up the sense like, oh, no one can pass this. Like, oh, this is so dangerous to do this. Like, oh my God, like it's so scary. Like we could really die doing this. Like they show people dead that we didn't care about in the beginning, and then no one we care about, nothing happens to people that.
And then Siri, the main greatest mage, goes ahead and agrees and says, "Wow, I was mistaken. We do have a bumper crop this year," meaning that way too many of the mages that were in this test taking this time around were really fucking good. So
why
it's not
make it that?
surprising because here's the thing. Other I'm assuming this may be an assumption, but because I can't remember correctly, but I'm assuming in years past there were people that died, and that's why all these precautions are here. But because this year's group of test takers were so fucking good, and there was just so many good ones, that's why like they made it seem like these stakes were here, but they almost weren't for this group because there was so many actually good mages this year.
But so many, it was like 5.
She passed like at least 10 people.
No, she didn't.
You're fucking capping.
She did not pass that many people. She passed Fern, she passed the dude with the glasses, the girl with the green hair, the dude with the light blue hair, and the girl with the yellow hair. And Dankin. That's like 6. I think that was it.
I don't know, even then, like it's I get that, I guess that's fair, but even then at the same time, compared to other years, like she said, it is a group, like the more highly skilled mages there are, like the less risky it's going to be for that group. And there were a few, even if it's just coming down to the fact that they made it to the second portion, like, and survived that long or beat the second portion. There was, because let's be real, there was quite a bit of unfairness in the third test. Yeah, I guess it, like, her intuition's always right, whatever. But I am saying that a majority of the people who passed that second test I would say had the qualifications. But Siri was just like, no.
I'd say all the people who...
That third test was extremely... When we heard that it was going to be... Frieren didn't pass.
I was going to say everyone besides Frieren shouldn't have passed. That didn't pass. Like, that was right. I mean, and even then, I mean, there's the argument of what she actually said to why Frieren shouldn't have passed. I don't know, but she really just be bullshitting because she don't like Frieren, but, I mean, hey. I don't think anyone that didn't pass shouldn't have passed. Or should have passed, I guess, besides Frieren. But, you know. I mean, hey, it isn't like a super significant thing, but I do think it definitely does take away from it, in my opinion. So I don't think that, you know, any of the points take away from my initial point, even though it may lessen it. Like, I still think that is a fair point to make.
I mean, it is. It just, I also think that just for you, the things that it does to a great level, I guess, just don't impact you as much as it may, like, seemingly a lot of people, but I think just doesn't like outweigh those flaws as much.
Yeah, it's like I think Mushoku Tensei is a pretty good comparison, like Code from earlier, the Twitter person had made, in terms of that. I think that's a pretty good comparison in terms of what it does. I would say it's better than Mushoku. And I think that is from its, you know, deeper context in terms of, you know, life and what it tries to speak on. Even though I think it is weaker than Mushoku in some aspects as well, in terms of, I think it depends on how, like, there's different forms of world building, but in terms of like the world of world building, not necessarily the characters. The character side of world building, Frieren does very well, but the world side of world building, I think that Mushoku definitely does a lot better than Frieren. It still has those aspects that it does better than Frieren. I think even outside of the main cast of Frieren, Fern, Stark, and I guess like Himmel, I think the majority of Mushoku characters are more developed and done better. But again, I would still put Frieren above it based on, you know, some of the aspects that it does try to speak on and do. Even though it may have certain weaknesses as opposed to Mushoku, I think they are pretty relative to some degree. Frieren is like slightly above it to me. So, I mean, Mushoku I'd give like a 7.5 to 8. Frieren's at 8 to 8.5. It's like about a half difference in terms of a rating.
Okay. Yeah, Frieren a 10 is the top 10 anime of all time.
That's true.
Hell no.
That's true.
We hope that you all enjoyed. But sadly, it is that time of day to make the rain go away. That didn't make sense.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's the opposite. The rain is coming now.
The rain is certainly coming.
Pause.
Next time, stay tuned for my rant on the most random show of all time, or random to hear from. Maybe not Hokkaido Gals. I'm gonna talk about that show. I'm gonna talk about that show for sure.
And
I've been talking about it with Cardiac behind the scenes because nobody else cares, and even Cardiac doesn't care that much. But
I just gotta make the time.
It's low key not what I thought it was, and in a good way.
Well, make sure y'all tune in next time for that discussion.
Quick question though: do you think Frieren's actually going to get pushed as like a top 10 anime of all time? Do you think people are actually going to do that?
I don't know if he'll get pushed this one, but it's probably like knocking on my top 10. I have to sit down and do it. Last time I checked, it was I think flirting with like.
Well, in terms of like the community as a whole as well, like
I truly have no idea because I don't think the community has a consensus top 10.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, well, I feel like you could name some that are like like Full Metal, AOT.
I truly cannot. Like I don't know if because look, the people that I associate with between anti-tubers, between generic like anime people just in the community, anime people that are chronically online. I know some people that got 100, 110, and some people that 2. I know some people that have
no one has that at 2. Stop. No one does. Legitimately.
Multiple. I know people who have it in their top, at the very least, like top 3.
Oh, I thought you meant like rated a 2 out of 10. Okay.
Oh no. I mean like in their top 10 or in their tops or whatever.
I got you.
And then like you have to include people who have just seen like obscure anime and just have a liking to obscure anime.
Yeah, but I think if you ask someone, what do most people think would be like a top 10 anime? Most people would probably say Full Metal, AOT, Hunter x Hunter, and of the sort. Not necessarily that they believe and agree with that, but I think most people would agree that most people would think of those anime as being at that level. So that's more so what I was saying is like, is it going to get pushed?
Oh, I guess, but I don't think you'll ever see that level of popularity to even be like that.
Yeah,
because there's also a certain mystique that you have to hit. And I don't think Frieren has that mystique to a lot of people enough to even get that popularity to be a top, like considered a top 10 series.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not going to discount Frieren, but if it is how it continues to go, I don't really see it getting too much higher for me. I mean, it could get to like a 9, but in terms of a 10, I don't think it'll ever get to a 10. I mean, maybe it will. Maybe it'll really get there, but I don't know.
Still got some years with it. It'll grow.
River's brain is still not mature enough to understand the amazingness that is Frieren.
For sure.
But hopefully y'all do.
Enough. Yeah.
But hopefully y'all do.
I know, and I don't know. I guess I'll probably never understand the complexity of SAO as well. I'm sure that'll.
Yeah, man.
It's just Frieren and SAO, 2 peas in a pod.
It's not even. I don't even dick suck SAO that much anymore. Like that's the thing. When I come on here. When am I bringing that up? Unless somebody else brings it up for me in the sense that what you just did, River.
I guess these days, yeah, but
exactly.
I don't know. I don't. Again, and I think I don't know. It truly. People have tried to say in the past that I have these opinions on Frieren because it doesn't have action or something. When in reality, like most of my favorite anime, I don't like for action. So it's just like it. I don't know, but for some reason,
I don't think you have your opinions on it because it doesn't have enough action. I think that what it tackles emotionally it just does not resonate as much with you.
And like the thing is, like the emotional moments resonate. It's usually the other aspects of the show that I have issues with, to be honest with you. Like the storytelling. I'm saying that
for most people, those emotional moments resonate at a level to where like they're not worried about their other nitpicks of the show.
I see.
So, but like with a Bleach, the excitement that you have for it can surpass like some nitpicks that someone may bring up.
I think I put Frieren above Bleach, but that's.
I'm not saying that it's better, but I'm saying that like, yeah. So that might be like what people mean, or like, oh shit, if it don't got fists in it, River not fucking with it type shit. But
I mean, that's really like who said that, like Archie and Dylan. But regardless, yeah,
you're bullies. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode of The Flow, and unless y'all go on to Patreon, we will catch y'all later.
Subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Subscribe.
Like.
Subscribe.
Peace.
Like.
Comment. Man, y'all
subscribe.
Wow.
Subscribe. We need to hit 500. If we don't hit 500, I'm gonna. I don't know.
Die. Oh
yeah,
shit.